sublime. So
you
that's
ever asked the question of what would it be like if "I Will Survive" became a pop song? Well,
exactly, Blake. Exactly. Have you ever asked that specific question?
yeah.
Most people
Yeah.
are probably like, no.
If you were to input this into ChatGPT, this is what would come out.
Exactly. Exactly. And yes, exactly. So look, be on the lookout for that. So
yeah.
Party on, guys.
Party on.
Rock on. Well, welcome back, podcasters, to another episode of the Party on Johncast. We actually got another one in the books this year.
Yeah.
How about it?
So this is the Reverend Angel of Death, Sal Marco, a validated minister in the PCUSA, serving in the validated ministry of chaplaincy. I keep saying validated because I need to be validated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You love me now, Dad.
You validated. Yeah. You validated. Validate lactorian. I don't know. That didn't. I don't even know if that makes sense.
Serving in hospice chaplaincy.
Yeah. So I'm the rockin' Reverend, to some anyway. The rockin' Reverend Todd Laddick, serving my soul on spiritual renewal leave as we speak. So that is where I am. And wow, what a blessing to get that around this time of year. That has never happened before, and I can almost imagine it will never happen again. So unless God is that good. No, all jokes aside. So that is what I am doing. And yeah, any validation you want to throw my way, I'll take it too. So
I will validate the fact that spiritual renewal is really nice up in Alaska if you wanted to hop on a plane.
You know what? I might take you up on that, Blake.
Yeah, you can visit a church that Thomas Merton spent some time at.
Ooh, I would take you up on that. Yeah. Thomas
Merton. Reverend Blake Severson, the Viking vicar, currently serving as interim pastor at Eagle River Presbyterian Church in Eagle River, Alaska. Today in Alaska, it actually got cold enough that I am drinking hot coffee instead of cold.
Nice.
I did have 2 full iced coffees first, but it's pretty chilly here today. But it's a good place to be when it's cold. It's beautiful. So I'm serving interim pastor for a church that is a little over 2 years. Ready to start my 3rd contract here at the end of the month.
Nice. Rocketh on. So any news for the good of the order to update us with? In fact, we'll start with you, Blake. How is everything going with you in terms of Megan? Any updates there?
Yeah, biggest is that a week from today, I'll be in Houston with her, and we will be finding out if the liver transplant is a go, because that is where we're at, is a liver transplant.
Okay.
And remember the last time we talked, if we knew this or not, but my best friend is actually going to be the donor.
Oh.
So it's a living donorship with my best friend who's going to give up half of his liver to her.
Wow.
And if we get the green light next Wednesday, then on January 13th of 26, this all goes down.
Wow.
So it's a lot. It's still a lot to process sometimes when I say it out loud. But it's a remarkable opportunity that not a lot of people get. So we're grateful for that. But it's also all kinds of scary because she'll be in Texas until probably May.
Wow. Oh, she'd
with
have
follow-up
to be.
for a transplant. So
You
It'll
don't
be a
want her flying
long haul.
anywhere. You don't want her flying
Yeah, well,
anywhere
and it's
after
just
that.
you gotta be right on top of the rejection, right? If anything starts happening, so it's gonna be a haul. But so I'll be down there with the girls for about a month, but then come back in time for Lent. Because the church here waits for no man, and then single parenting for the better part of 3 months. While
Wow.
she's still in recovery, and then she'll come home, and hopefully we can start getting around to some level of normal-ish. But
Wow. Wow.
very hopeful, but also very heavy.
Yeah. Well,
Especially waiting for this biggest doctor's appointment we've ever had in our entire lives.
the hope is great because this has been an up and down and a lot of down with some minimal up kind of roller coaster ride, and to hear there is hope is good, and to hear about your friend donating half his liver, that is just a miracle unto itself that somebody would do that. What a wonderful thing, but also, yeah, the heaviness of that's I can't even imagine. So I'm not even going to try to imagine, but yeah.
So, it's a bunch, but like I said, we're really lucky to even be in the position we're in. And then we'll see what happens after that, because even with the transplant, the recurrence rate is still really high. So it's not the end. It's just
a step.
It's a step. It's a new beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. And whatever happens from there on in is what happens from there on in. You don't know. Yeah. It's a tricky place to be. Yeah. How about you, Sal?
Well, just we've been in our new house now for a year. We just finished a whole bunch of remodeling and updates. Just now been with this hospice for marked 2 years with this hospice company, so that's a good thing. But life's chugging along. No major changes or news to share other than still doing what I do. So the boys are getting older. They're almost 6 and almost 4. So our youngest just had his tonsils and his adenoids removed. And we'll be starting speech therapy here in January, because his speech is a little delayed, but nothing that doesn't happen with little kids. And last night, I started training at the dojo with my older son, Calvin. So he was very excited to be doing Taekwondo with his dad. So
nice. Ooh,
nice. I'm getting back in the dojo, and he gets to train with Daddy. So
yes, and that a family that kicks together sticks together.
Yeah, and his little brother's going to start this week too. So
nice,
awesome,
nice. So as for me, I since we last talked, obviously I was serving a church, and now I am on spiritual renewal leave. I'm not going to really go into the details of that here for obvious reasons, but what I will say is that what this season has shown me is that no matter how ridiculous God seems sometimes, and no matter how ridiculous the demands or commands or requests of God may feel, if you remain true to that, God remains true to you. And I'm experiencing that now, even as a lot of different things are swirling through me, right? So I just see the grace of God throughout all of this, and so I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful to be on spiritual renewal leave, and that God decided to plant that in the middle of the busiest, or one of the busiest seasons of the year. Actually, I'll be on spiritual renewal leave through two of the busiest seasons of the year. So that is a blessing, and something that's kind of been long overdue. Wasn't planning on taking it this year, but within a year or two, I was planning on taking it. So it works out. But to say that this period hasn't been painful or challenging would be wrong as well. So I've been going through a number of things that have been challenging to me personally, but God has been faithful, and the ability to keep serving in the ways that I have been just amazing. So, and this is one of those ways. But another thing I want to update on, more positive and exciting news, is I actually have released a number of things. I have a website even. I'm coming out, so to speak, as a poet, because one of the things I've noticed is that pastors, people hear you're a pastor and they automatically put a halo over your head, and the second you swear, or the second you dress differently than a pastor should, whatever that means, or you act differently than they expect, people automatically start to think, oh, well, that can't be a pastor, and I think part of the problem with that is the church, because the church wants their pastors neat and kempt, and part of that is the pastors, because we don't like to rock the boat, because we don't like conflict. Who does? So I'm deciding, part of my spiritual renewal leave is integration. I am a whole person, and I will not be anything but a whole person. I don't ask anybody else to approach me as a half person, and I'm not going to approach anybody else as a half person. So I'm an artist. I'm a poet. I've been writing poetry since I was 14 years old. I write under the pen name Tristan Robert Lang. So if you want to check that out, please do. I'll put all this in the notes. Please check it out, tristanrobertlang.com. And the good news is I just got a poem published. It got published in October, and it is in an anthology entitled The Lies We Tell Others. It's a Pocono Liars anthology. The Pocono Liars Club is a group of authors and editors who resource and support local authors, and they are totally nonprofit, so they put together an anthology, legitimate submissions and all that, put together an anthology, and that anthology is going to, hopefully raise some funds for the effort. So I got to contribute to that. They accepted me, God help them, and I am in there. In fact, I am the last poem. There's only 2 poems in there, and the rest are short stories, and I am the last poem of the 2. I'm bookending the entire anthology, which is neat. So I don't get lost anywhere. I'm right there at the end. So it's kind of neat. And the other poem is right there at the beginning. So it's really cool. Anyway, that's my good news. And I also am releasing music as well. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. So I'm done. Which is a good segue actually to our most excellent music segment. Winter edition. Anybody want to go first?
I can start.
Okay, awesome.
So 2 things, well, really 3. One, the first and foremost, as a father, I am deeply proud of my Spotify Wrapped this year, because I have maintained its integrity. Every song on my Spotify Wrapped, like your favorite songs, are absolute bangers that I would listen to any single time. And I'm proud of that because I also listen to music with my girls all the time. So I feel like I am doing my job of introducing them to most excellent music. In fact, my youngest, Sigrid, her new favorite song is Long Road, Wrong Road by Mastodon. She loves that song. And she started singing it the other day in the car, and now she asks for it all the time because she loves it. So big up there. Love that. I strive greatly to keep my Spotify wrapped with integrity. Instead of just listening to, some nonsense that the girls want. Then I am wearing my new heavy headphones, which I love deeply. And I found myself listening to a lot of Deftones again because I just wanted to kind of see, I wonder what this sounds like. And the White Pony album has been on nonstop with me. It's just amazing. And with these headphones in particular, it feels like another experience.
Nice.
I feel like I'm hearing things I hadn't heard before. And then for new music, have you ever wondered what the answer to the question of what would Tool sound like if it was Swedish and the singer was Bjork?
I can't say I've ever specifically asked that, but now I'm interested.
Well, I have the answer for you.
Okay.
And it is a Swedish band called Galpa, Gaupa. And they are amazing. It's hard to express how interesting the music is. Gaupa.
B-A?
P as in
P.
Paul.
P as in pop. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, it is. They're like instrumentally, they're very in the world of Tool. Lyrically, amazing. When they speak English, I can understand it. When they speak Swedish, it still sounds beautiful. But their vocalist is like I said, it's Bjork.
Wow.
But with like acid rock, Tool vibes. It's become my new. It's honestly become my new study. It's so good. So
nice.
So did a really nice job of my Spotify Wrapped, diving back into something that I loved back in the day with the White Pony album, and then new music, Galpa. Tool meets Bjork meets honestly kind of Mastodon. Gojira, nice. Prague, Tool, Bjork.
Nice. Rock on. Sal?
Nice. Yeah, so, along the lines of what Blake was just saying, it wouldn't be this time of year if I wasn't listening to, there's a compilation album called Midnight Clear, which is a bunch of Christian hard rock metalcore bands that sing Advent and Christmas songs. So there's a Fit for the King did an awesome cover of God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, which is an absolute fave for this time of year. As only Fit for a King could sing it. As far as my, this is not my Spotify, but my Apple Music year in review, a lot of Buckethead, a lot of Tears for Fears, a lot of Andy Taylor, the guitarist for Duran Duran. So I'm a lot of Jason Gray, who Alice and I are actually going up to Connecticut next week to see in concert.
Ooh, nice!
Because he's our jam together. But as far as new music, and you'll get a kick out of this, I found actually yesterday, Lord of the Lost. They're a German band, like a goth metal band, and they actually were Germany's represented Germany in the 2023 Eurovision.
Yeah, they're so good.
Yeah, so I discovered them in their song, One Last Song. That's just a beautiful song about if we had one last song to sing, what would we sing about? So very, very spiritual themes, very gothic, very, I think in my old age, I'm becoming more goth.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I will never argue anybody becoming more goth. Just saying.
Yeah. So that's my, yeah. That's
nice. So I and I had to find it, and it's my own, which is bad. I am actually going to talk about a single I just released. Actually, I just released it at the end of October, but everything was kind of like crazy at the end of October. So like I actually forgot that I released a single at the end of October. The single's name is Feast Your Eyes. It's from the my project called Tragic Life. And this particular song comes out of, again, like I think this whole album that I'm working on, and I am working on an album that will get released, so I'm sure you'll hear about that. But it's really just coming out of this idea that, like, people will often. I've been listening to a lot of Marilyn Manson too. I don't know if anybody has listened to his new album, One Assassination Under God. If you haven't and you know what he's gone through, listen to it. It's kind of amazing. And actually, the song "Secret," "As Sick as the Secrets Within" is a great song. But not to distract myself, I've been listening to a lot of that and listening to a lot of other stuff, and just realizing that, like, like people will oftentimes act like they're your friend, act like they're on your side, act like they're with you, and then when everything starts to crash or burn, they pull away. Right? Like, and there's a lyric in the Manson song where he says, everybody shows up to the execution, but no one will show their face to shoot you in the back of the head and call it sacrifice. They don't even deserve to say your name. And that's, I think, how a lot of people are, and I don't think it's oftentimes intentional. I think it comes from like fear, not wanting to get caught up in something. So like, you act like you support somebody, but when it comes comes to shove, you don't. So I was thinking about that, and I wrote these lyrics, and I'll just read them really quick. But and just thinking about things I was going through. I sit here alone almost every night, counting the days, my eternal fright. A crypt of fools, what a horrible sight, filled with death and the things of blight. Ghosts crowd the halls of our tomb-filled minds. The ups are downs, and the lows are highs. Unearthed, rot is risen. Go ahead. Feast your eyes. Fog along the cemetery, I can see that it makes you wary. My loneliness, not an average ferry, is now the burden you must ever carry. Ghosts crowd the halls of our tomb-filled minds. And then, it goes into the chorus. The ups are downs, the downs are highs. Unearthed, rot is risen. Go ahead and feast your eyes. And so like the whole idea is that, it's a bit defiant, in that it is saying, recognizing that, there are going to be people that feast their eyes at whatever rot is creeping up, or what, looking for the bad, or looking to bring someone down, or looking to be a naysayer, or whatever the case may be. And so like the song is kind of coming from a defiant place, saying, go ahead, feast your eyes. And so that's that's kind of what it is, a bit of a challenge, to those who do that, but also kind of reaching out to those who've been through that as well, which I think is the kind of point of any art, right? Like to connect with those who've gone through, but also challenge those who may contribute to that sort of thing. So that's my song, Feast Your Eyes. It's on all major streaming services, and go check that out. And you can check that out again on all streaming services. You can also check out TristanRobertLang.com, where I have that and a lot of other stuff as well. So that is my musical take. And I will say I have a new single coming out somewhere in the beginning of the year called Necromancy Sublime, which is a gothic take of I Will Survive. Not I shouldn't say a take of it. It has nothing to do with I Will Survive. It's my original song. But if I Will Survive were to become a goth song, then it might end up sounding like Necromancy Sublime. So
you ever asked the question of what would it be like if I Will Survive became a Dot song. Well,
Exactly, Blake. Exactly. Have you ever asked that specific question?
yeah.
Most people
Yeah.
are probably like, no.
If you were to input this into ChatGPT, this is what would come out.
Exactly. Exactly. And yes, exactly. So look, be on the lookout for that. So
Yeah.
so that brings us to what, Sal?
Our shithouse theology.
Shithouse theology. Ooh, I feel a flush coming on.
Very flush. So this is actually kind of something that I think that comes up, at least in recent memory, seems to come up every Advent, every Christmas season. This time spurred on for me, at least, with there's a church outside of Boston that's gotten a lot of media attention for putting in their nativity scene. I saw they took the Holy Family out of the nativity scene and put a sign that said ICE was here.
Yeah.
As their as their protest of what's going on with immigration and how we are treating migrants and foreigners within our land.
Did that melt some snowflakes?
It did melt some snowflakes.
I was just wondering.
But it sort of highlights this argument. I remember seeing this argument the last couple of years around whether or not Jesus was a refugee, because he fled. He and the Holy Family fled the threat of death under Herod as a baby, and whether or not that doesn't count because Judea was part of the Roman Empire and he fled within the Roman Empire. And the Theobros say no, he's not a migrant. And the other side says no. We need to treat those foreigners among us with as family, as one of them. So it brings up the debate of what is the proper theology around my immigrants and foreigners amongst us, and loving your neighbor. And
you know what I see all of this debate as on the Theobros part? It's a big red herring. It's like, look at that bird. We'll go fly chase after that bird and try to prove, oh no, this belongs. No, he is absolutely no, he isn't a refugee. Yes, he is a refugee. No, he isn't a refugee. But I think the point comes down to this question, and I'll ask this question: if Jesus stuck around in Bethlehem, what would have happened?
He would have been arrested and killed. Well, his family would have been arrested. He would have been killed.
He would have been killed, yeah, and his family would have been. They would have been Christmas tree ornaments, so to speak. So the splitting of hairs that the Theo Bros want to do on this, in reality, it plays out empire oppressing somebody and making them flee. Period. So whether Jesus was an immigrant or a refugee or, a normal should be considered citizen being tracked down by an oppressive government, it really doesn't matter. The fact is, oppressive government attacking innocents, God says, not cool. And I'm going to give you a way out of it. Not only am I going to give you a way out of it, but I'm going to poke this bear so hard. He's not going to know what to do. And so, like, that's, I think, the Advent story, but we'll get there. Anyway, yeah. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say also the major question behind all this is, who is my neighbor?
And who's my neighbor?
It's that fateful question of the legal scholar talking to Jesus before the Good Samaritan, right? Who is my neighbor? Right?
Yep.
Because when you see this also in the really grisly, horrible discourse around the murders in the Caribbean. That's what they are. Like, oh, well, they're drug dealers, so it's fine that we destroy them and kill them. No, it's not. It's still not okay. And there's just a level of, are they human and are they my neighbor? And if we can separate ourselves that way, it allows us to endure other people's suffering without taking the blame, without owning it. I would say that's what I feel like I've been seeing certainly in some of this coming. It's like trying to decide who we should care about, right?
Right. And
who should we care about? Who should we actually have feelings or compassion or love. And
Right.
to me, it comes down to the question of, is there anybody for whom
Yeah.
Jesus does not hold love? And what's the answer? Because then that's who we're supposed to love too.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And that is the question, because for me, if like if we look at the whole nativity story, right? Like the whole nativity story is about empire forcing people to do things they would have not had to do, causing a pregnant mother to have to go to an area that wasn't her own, having to travel for that day and age on donkey or whatever the heck they were traveling on. It was not an easy journey for a pregnant woman to make. It wouldn't be an easy journey for anybody to make. So like so you got the treachery, you got the treacherous journey, you got all of that in there, and then they get there and nobody's got room for this guy because he's a nobody, right? Nobody's got room for this family, nobody's got room for this baby. That someone says, "Here, go into the stall over there that you give birth where the baby, where the animal's crap." Talking about shithouse theology, like Jesus was literally born in a shithouse almost, like, and and so what do we do as modern Christians? We get hung up on whether Jesus was a citizen of Judea or Roman Empire, well, first off, Jesus was in the Roman Empire. Yes. So yeah, he technically didn't flee one empire to the other, but he did flee one kingdom to another. And that kingdom had sovereignty under the Roman rule. So long as Herod was doing his due, Rome kept him in power and allowed him to make his rules, and they didn't care as long as Rome got what they got. So for him to go fleeing Herod into another country is by he's not only a refugee, he's a fugitive. Okay, so if you don't want to call him a refugee, he's a freaking fugitive, breaking the law and running away from, it would be like immigrants running out the back door while ICE is coming in, right? Well, they're not refugees technically; they're just running away. So what is the argument here, Theo Bros? Is my question. Like we're like Blake said, the question is, who is our neighbor? Jesus is very clear about who our neighbor is. And I didn't even hear who our neighbor is not, because Jesus goes as far as to say our enemies are our neighbor, So if our enemies are our neighbor and God says, treat your neighbor as you, love your neighbor as you love yourself, I think that's end of question. I don't think, the rest of that is just a big fluff bunny, in my mind. But
right. Well, a lot of the responses that you see online are, well, Jesus would have done it legally. Jesus would have followed the rules.
Of course, because flipping the tables was a total legal thing to do.
Yeah.
So tell me you haven't read the Bible without telling me.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you say that, you haven't read the Bible. Yeah. Period. It's like the people come up to me and say, Jesus smoked pot. Really? Where? Maybe he did, but it doesn't say it in there, so I wouldn't be claiming that as gospel truth, Yeah. But people claim a lot of things, and in this country, biblical literacy, as I saw it in a movie 50 years ago, and I vaguely remember that. Yeah. So that is a total flush.
Oh, and it just shows the biblical illiteracy of American Christians. It also shows that a large portion of American Christians are in churches that teach them that Christianity is not so much about the gospel, the freeing message of the gospel. It's the message of, well, if you follow the rules, then God loves you.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I did prior to going on my spiritual renewal leave, I was teaching a class, Bible study on Revelation, called Revealing Revelation. And the idea of that was that we hear all of these different things about, through pop culture, what Revelation is, Left Behind being the worst offender, but there's plenty of others. And so I thought it would be really good, and I think it's almost vital for us as Christians to teach what Revelation is, what it is not, and how it is a book of hope for us, not a book of fear. And so I was teaching that, but I also simultaneously was doing a a sermon series on the seven churches of Revelation and the mirror that Jesus kind of holds up to each church, and really as a result is holding up the mirror to us. But in all of that, Revelation, the idea of the idea that people, I think people are really hungry for the hope that Revelation has to offer, and are really sick of what the church has been offering up as what Christianity is. I think the heart of Christianity can be found in Revelation, in the letters to the churches, and in Revelation 21, where Jesus is saying, look, I see what you're doing. I'm happy with some of it. I'm really not happy with others. This is what you got to do to get back on track. And by the way, here's the end game. And the end game is that, I want to upend the order of the world as it is and make it as it ought to be. And we're being invited to be a part of that. And what frustrates me more than anything is seeing Christians in particular bastardizing the message of Christ to fit their political agenda and their cultural agenda. And that's what this is. I think that's what this is. Every year we have the same offenders coming out on both sides, to be fair, but mainly one side. The offenders coming out and just totally distracting from what the core of the gospel is. And what makes me hate Christmas, I shouldn't say hate Christmas. What makes me, what's the word? What makes me cringe at Christmas is that it really has never been centered to the gospel at all. Like, it's only in 2 of the 4 gospels, and a blink of an eye at that in those gospels. And they don't disagree with each other, but they don't necessarily line up 100% either. So it's like, we gotta. But yet we make this the big holiday of the year. We're like this, and then Easter egg hunting at Easter. So anyway, I'll get off of that thing. But
well, I mean, I think I got to go soon, so I want to kind of tag team and maybe segue into the next bit for you guys. But,
yes,
the thing for me in this, this season is we like it's like the Talladega Nights thing, 8-pound, 6-ounce baby Jesus, gold fleece diaper, right? We love the image of baby Jesus, because babies, while they cry, they don't ask a lot from you. Honestly, the first year is so easy. They stay where you put them, you feed them, and they sleep.
Yep.
That's the job. They don't ask much from us. It gets harder and harder the older we get.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And that's why I think that Christmas is such a focal point for Christians, because Christmas Jesus is easy Jesus.
I agree with you there. He's the one we can contain. Yep.
He's the containable, he's easy Jesus. And, one of the emphases that I make every ad until people are sick of me saying it, which is usually pretty quickly, is that this day does not matter.
No.
Without everything that came after.
Nope. It's just a birthday.
And
not even accurate.
And it's not accurate. It wasn't, but it doesn't matter if all the other stuff didn't happen. It doesn't matter if he didn't teach us what he taught us. It doesn't matter if he didn't call us to this new way of being. That's why it's important.
Right.
And so, that is, to me, one of the essentials of the Christmas season, is to remind people that we needed him then, and we still need him now. And so my Advent sermons are not super cheery, because I kind of want people to feel oh my gosh, we really need him to come back.
Yeah.
Because that's, to me, is the reason for the season, to remind us that we're not there yet, and we need him to come back.
Yeah.
But we cannot do it without him. We couldn't do it without him before, which is why God sent him and why we celebrate Christmas. But we're still there. We have not moved as much as we think we have.
Right.
And we still need him. And part of that is, focusing in. So I'm doing a little devotional tonight that I think people are not going to be ready for, but I'm going to do the dry bones passage from Ezekiel for an Advent service. Because that passage is the reason that Jesus had to come,
Absolutely. Yep.
right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and there are still people in our churches, in our communities, in our cities, and everyone to go to this grocery store that while they're walking around getting their Christmas dinner are crying out on the inside, my bones are dried up, my hope is.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we are still called as God's people to say
Yeah.
that God is going to make you breathe again. To everybody, including the people that we think are enemies and the narco terrorists or whatever garbage we're calling the people in the boats.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So anyway,
Yeah.
that's what I've got. I got to get to the next meeting, but it's good to see you guys. Merry
Good
Christmas.
to see you too. Yeah. Merry Christmas to you, Blake.
Enjoy Prague Tool Bjork for me.
Sounds good.
And for anybody listening, if you're looking for a gift idea for the music lover in your life, Heavy's headphones. I'm not a paid sponsor, but these things are remarkable and they are on sale. They are worth every.
Sounds good.
So even if it's a gift for you, like if you want to get yourself a Christmas gift, these will make your music sound better.
Sounds good. Yes, and that is must do.
Must do. So
Yep.
Take care, you guys.
Take care.
I'll keep you posted on what we find out next week.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks.
Keep it posted.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah. So basically, anything to add to what Blake said there?
No, that was a good segue into our discussion. There's a reason why Advent and Lent are seasons of waiting.
Mm-hmm.
And I just last week reminded the staff here at the residence. I said, because somebody said something that was, about Easter, and I said, traditionally for 2,000 years, every Sunday is a little Easter because every Sunday points towards Easter. Mm-hmm. Like Blake said, for 2,000 years, the central focus of Christianity is not Christmas; it's Easter.
That's right, and it always has been. And truth be told, Christians didn't always celebrate Jesus's birthday. Well, consistently, first off, across the board, and they didn't always celebrate it. In fact, they almost never celebrated it at December. What ended up happening is Constantine, the politician that he was, saw that paganism was not the religion to unite the empire, and he went with a 20% no-name religion, basically called Christianity. Made that the one he was going to back. And said, well, gee, we can't offend 80% of the population. So they're worshiping the birth of the sun, and we're worshiping the birth of the son, Jesus. So why not do that at the same time? We'll all make merry together. And so it was total politics, and makes sense. Pragmatically makes sense why he did it. But again, it was a political ploy to make people happy. It had nothing to do with worshiping, the heart of Jesus or who Jesus is, or like following Jesus beyond where Constantine wants you to be. Because if you did that, you got exiled. It's the whole thing. The whole thing. Yeah.
And this is an aside, but I find it hilarious that another thing that comes up this time of year every year is it's thank Trump, it's okay to say Merry Christmas again. It's like it's always been okay to say Merry Christmas. And the funny thing is that ironically the Christmas was not universally celebrated in this country until the late 1800s.
Late 1800s, yeah, Victorian era.
And what popularized it was Coca-Cola and the polar bears and their Santa Claus. But ironically, the very people that banned Christmas in the Americas were the evangelicals, the Puritans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The very people who nowadays are saying, bring Christ back at Christmas. This is a Christian nation. We should celebrate Christmas. And it's not a happy holiday. Know your history. Talk about biblical illiteracy and culture, liturgical illiteracy.
Unbelievable. And you're right. Know your history, and the whole Easter thing becomes an afterthought. Like Easter's a big holiday in the Christian world still, obviously, but even then we put more time and energy. Like for instance, if we had a whole week of Christmas Eve services, people would come to that, right? But you have a whole week of Holy Week services. You're lucky you get them. They'll be there on Easter, and Palm Sunday. Palm Sunday is a stretch, So, but it's on Sunday, so we'll come. But God forbid you come during the week, But Christmas Eve, any day of the week, let's do it. So it's kind of weird. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm Scrooge. I love Christmas. I have nostalgic memories of Christmas. I love spending time with my family. I love the lights, all that. I'm not knocking the holiday, but the holiday has very little, in my mind, to do with the heart of the gospel.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like the message is the gospel, and how we celebrate it as modern Americans and modern people is not. Watch any Hallmark movie, and they'll say, "Oh, the spirit of Christmas is to be giving," and to, some generic spiritual sounding.
Right.
And that's not bringing it back to your point of the, Advent apocalypse. Christmas is, yes, you await the arrival of baby Jesus, which, as Blake said, is easy to handle because everyone loves babies.
Cool.
But it's also awaiting the second coming of grown-up Jesus, who holds us accountable for how we treat baby Jesus.
Yeah, and here's the thing that people forget: as fun as nostalgia is, we're looking back to a time we can't remember. We only remember it because we've been told it, which means we're in between that time and when real adult Jesus comes back, and so like we're looking back to a baby that's already grown up, already flipped tables, already ticked to the establishment, already got crucified, already got buried, already went to hell, already rose again, and is sitting at the right hand of God the Father Almighty, and will come again to judge the living and the dead. Right. That is the one we're talking about, and yet we're stuck on the baby in the past. So yeah, the Advent apocalypse. I think Advent is about apocalypse, the arrival of God on the scene to upend the world order. What's the world order? Let's look at what the world order is, and we could be cheap about it and say, a president's name, but it's more than just one president. I mean, the whole way we live in society, the whole order of things, the whole order of even in the church, we say, the last shall be least, the last shall be first, and the first shall be least. But is that how it works out in the church hierarchy? Or is it the least becoming bishops? Nope. Is it the least making decisions for the presbytery? No. Nope. Okay. So, how much does the church even model Christ? That's, we go, right. Don't go there.
Yep. Yeah.
Starting to smoke under the collar. Yeah.
I thought of this when Blake was talking, but I knew an elder down in New Jersey that everyone often when I would preach at their church, he would always joke with me. There's a cartoon of a parishioner walking out of a church, and he tells the pastor, he's like, "You must be in a rut, pastor. You keep talking about resurrection."
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. He used to always joke with me because for like 3 or 4 times I was there preaching at our church, I always talked about the focus is resurrection. So,
like, what else am I to focus on? Isn't that
like that's kind of the central point of our religion? So,
you get rid of the resurrection, there's not much good news there. It's like, oh, dude said some really important things, ticked a lot of people off, and then got murdered. Yep. That that's it. Without the resurrection, that's it. Yep. So, yeah, no, I find that funny. Well. I've had people question me on why I always preach about inclusivity. Because if you can find a gospel that doesn't talk about inclusivity, maybe I'll look at that gospel. But the 4 gospels I see in my in my Bible are preaching inclusivity. I mean, you've got Jesus, forget Jesus, right? But then you've got Paul. I mean, Paul was all about inclusivity. We forget that because some of the verses that get attributed to him, but even around those verses, he's talking about inclusivity. So like, we can debate the finer details, but even Paul as a whole was about inclusivity. So like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
You don't like an inclusive church? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about all this woke needs to get out of religion. Well, the Paul and Jesus were the epitome of woke. They were, I mean, at that time to talk about being inclusive of women and
Gentiles.
Gentiles. That was,
And Jesus quite literally says, "Be awake." I never hear him say, "Don't be awake." And if you want to, make it woke, don't be woke or be. Yeah, he's always saying, "Be woke" or "Be awake." Like it's not be asleep. Don't be noticing things. Ignore the social injustice around you. I don't see any of that message coming from Jesus. So, be woke. Be careful what you make fun of. I would say, be careful what you make fun of because,
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I don't know. So yeah, for me, Advent, if anything, let's put it this way: what is an apocalypse? We think of it as the end of the world, but apocalypse simply means the same thing Revelation means, and that's revealing. It's Greek apocalypsos. It's Greek and it means revealing, but it also is attributed to the end of the world. So what I would say is, for me, Advent, if it does anything, it points us to God's ultimate end, right? And that end comes through Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
The baby itself is not the message. The baby itself is the start of God's ultimate plan, which was actually really John says it was really in plan from the beginning. Yep. Like God was going to make this happen. It was happening. It happened. And now what do we do with it? And that's the point of it.
And I always like to, and when you can quote 1,000 Foot Crutch,
I love them.
their song, "The End Is Where We Begin." I mean,
Yes.
that's the epitomizes Advent, Easter, everything, For
Absolutely
Christians,
does.
for Christians, the end is where we begin because what did Jesus come to do? He came to defeat the greatest enemy, death.
That's right. The end is where we begin, and don't mess that up, or we're going to fucking get wicked. Right? Like, and that's a great song too on there. But no, 1,000 Foot Crutch. Yeah, the end is where we begin. That's the starting point. Like the end has happened. Now we need to do what Christ has called us to do to bring about the beginning. And the beginning is the new heaven and the new earth, but that can't happen if we're clutching our pearls and holding on to everything but Jesus. And that's what we do, especially, and that's what we see, especially in this time period, I think.
Yeah, and I see this all the time in hospice. And Jesus talks about the new heaven and the new earth and new creation, but God damn, people just cling on to the old and cling on to this world, and that's where a lot of the fear and anxiety around death comes. It's like, but I won't be part of this world anymore.
Right.
That's where 1,000 Foot Crutch comes in. Well, the basis of our faith is the end is actually our beginning.
Right.
That's where we have to have our faith.
Right. Yeah, and what I would encourage people, I think, if you're going to do, if you want to read something for Advent, read Revelation. Because and read it this way. Don't look at, and this is the biggest mistake, but here's the biggest secret I could give you to the book of Revelation. Don't read it as a list of things that are to come, as if God's going to be dumping bowls of judgment on us and fire is going to burn from our foreheads and scorpions are going to eat our noses and all of that stuff. That is all symbolic. And if you look at the world as Revelation describes it and you turn on the television, you will see what it's describing very really in symbolic language, right? Like there aren't scorpions, but there are bullets, right? There aren't snakes and serpents coming out of people's ears, but there are evil leaders who are doing evil things. So like if we look at Revelation as symbolic of the world around us and we look at our world around us, we see that it's prescribing the world, not prescribing. It's describing the world, and then God inserts God's prescription, and God's prescription is Jesus Christ. Period.
Yes.
And that's what puts an end to this world order. That's what flips the tables for good and says, you know what? The gates of heaven aren't even going to be exclusive. They're going to be open for all. But nobody who is exclusive is going to want to enter here.
Yes.
Nobody who's sinful and evil and wanting death and destruction and power and manipulation is going to even want to walk in here. This is going to be hell to them. So like the doors can stay wide open because that stuff's just not coming in. Has no place.
Yep.
And so, you know, if this idea like, oh, that's another shithouse theology, another, but the idea that, you know, like, oh, the kingdom of heaven has gates. Yes. And the gates are open. You jerks. Yes. Read Revelation chapter 21. The gates are wide open, open.
And those people who think heaven has walls and gates and strict immigration policy are exactly the ones who aren't getting there.
That's the irony is they're sealing their own fate by their own judgment.
Yep.
They're judging everybody else and sealing their own fate, and the Bible says that like pretty clearly. So like if you're going to be in a place of judgment, you know, be careful. But okay, yeah. So I don't know. I think we covered this pretty well. What do you think?
I think we did.
So with that said, it is time for us to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we're going to, of course, be heading right on over to our bonus episode. Yes. So if you want to check out our bonus episode, we have a question there. We're going to tease the question because, well, that's what we do, right? So the question for us today, my friends, is this. What would you pray for Jesus to regift to the church? If you could get Jesus to regift something to the church, what would you get Jesus to regift? So that's what we're going to talk about.
And I'll give you a hint. My answer is in the question.
Ooh, answers in the question. Yes. So head on over and check us out. You know, and if you haven't subscribed, I mean, it's a coffee, literally a coffee a month. That's it. Yep. So go check it out. We're worth it, I think. Do you think we're worth it, Sal?
We're worth it. Over on patreon.com, Party on Joncast.
Yes, exactly. And you will get all those goodies. So go check us out there. In the meantime, friends, remember, be excellent to each other.
And don't be a jerk.
And of course, for Blake, Skull.